Game number 1, ladies and gentlemen. BTG goes up against CE here at the Gold League, and we have Cursed Hollow actually as our first map, which is definitely an interesting touch. So yep, once again, we're currently in the final group stage before we're heading into the bracket phase, and that means that we have 8 teams in this group stage, and they are all playing around robin against each other in a best-of-2 format, which means that per series we're seeing 2 maps. And that is then going to determine the ranking. The top 4 teams will move on to the final bracket, and then it's a step-ladder system, so the higher up in that ranking you are, the less games you have to play later. Since the question is always popping up, but Boluo has actually lost their first match against SBT in the first round, so they definitely have a little bit of work to do. CE, on the other hand, they were successful in their first match. They have still 3 Korean players in the lineup, and they're going up against BTG today. Definitely 2 out of the top 5 teams. We currently have 5 teams in that group that we're looking to specifically, and CE is definitely one of the teams that everybody expects to do extremely well here. So in the setup, we're going into bans on ETC and Maiev. We're having a Nubarak and also Anna taken out. Zeratul as a first pick here on Curse, which obviously immediately begs the question, are we going to see a setup with either Diablo or with Jaina? Genji early on for CE. They played Genji a lot, especially, I mean, Reset went for it. And now here's the Diablo pick. So already that taken away from a potential Void Prism combo. The only question that still remains is, are we going to see a Jaina to mix that up? Ooh, Lulcio again. I still can't help myself, but I feel Lucio is Blizzard's all year round April's Fool's joke at the Heroes of the Storm community. I haven't seen the hero do well after the rework. Neither has he done well before the rework, just to make that clear. But it's always a little bit questionable. I can see some strategies if they're really just trying to play around an opponent, where you can get a little bit of value. Tempo Storm, they might at BlizzCon not really had a good performance, generally speaking. But they had a couple of really interesting ideas, and one of the strategies included Lucio strategy, where they were just trying to raise down structures and play around the opponent. That was with the old Lucio, of course. But that definitely had a little bit of merit to it. But Lucio is quite weird right now, so I haven't really seen him do well yet. But there's a couple of teams that bring him in every now and then, and are very persistent about playing them, so I want to see if that changes things a little bit here. For now, we haven't really seen high 5 yet from him. It's always just a sound barrier. But let's see if BTG has something planned. Support meta in general in China is pretty weird. There's Sylvanas again, and again, that is a lot that you can actually do, where you can try and take a couple of structures down. Disengage with the Void Prison. You even have in this setup now a Tyrael, isn't too bad. Brightwing on the other side. Now I feel I'm getting memed here. But it is a big map, so you can use a bit of a global aspect to it, and maybe they're already trying to make the disengage happen with the Emerald Wind. But we have seen Blink here now too, so probably Blink kill again. Rexa shouldn't really come as a surprise. And here comes Phoenix as the last pick, as we are heading into Cursed Hollow, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 1, our best of 2 between BTG and CE. Game on, everybody! Yeah, that's where the piggy mounts come from. Alright, let's head into this. BTG against CE, Lulcio against Trashwing. Who is worse? That's what we're going to determine here today. Now, all memes aside, CE obviously the team that is favored here. And keep in mind, this is a best of 2. Every map matters. You lose one map in a best of 3, no problem. You can still recover, win 2 in a row, and decide the series in your favor. This is a different story. You lose a map and it's a problem for the standing. So you're fighting for every single map here. Now, as we're heading into this, again, one of the things that I also want to highlight right from the get-go is, first of all, you might have realized, well, that the frame quality is not quite what we usually have on stream. That's normal because the clean feed that we get from the Chinese has a lower quality than what I personally use for my own streams that I set up here. Therefore, we can't really change that. It's just the base quality that we have to deal with. But much, much better than not being able to get that quick glimpse into the Chinese meta, especially, of course, with the European team participating in it as well. That said, we also don't have any camera control, which is why we're using the HGC, the old HGC overlays in this game, so the observer UI here. Not really my personal favorite choice, because unfortunately you can't keep track of stacked talents. So in case you were wondering why we are switching the UI for this, we are actually not. But this is a clean feed and I'm not actually in the lobby itself. That being said, a few adjustments already when it comes to talents here. So we're already off to the races with a level 1 adjustment on Zeratul. So as you can tell right now, he's not going into a normal cleave build. This is actually a setup that we recently had played in Division S as well, where Tai played it for Granite Gaming, with success I might add. But if you're going into the Shadow Hunter, it's typically quite common to go into Might of the Nerazim later on as well, to go into the Psionic Strength on level 4. So I would expect a lot of adjustments here on Zeratul, unless that was a misclick, but I don't really expect so. Unfurling Shadows on the side of Sylvanas as the pick. We're having a big map here. Rexa again in play as one of the strong side laners that we're seeing these days, especially on the bigger maps. Even when there is a collapse onto him, Brightwing can help out. And this is actually one of the maps where Brightwing can create quite a bit of value. I mean, I'm always shit-talking Brightwing, and rightfully so, because the Fruit Fly deserves it. But there are definitely cases in which Brightwing can be of use, and the bigger the map, the more useful Brightwing can be. Generally speaking, I would still favor other supports in most cases, but this is a setup where Brightwing can definitely help a lot, especially, of course, since you can also, with a Polymorph, keep Zeratul a little bit at bay. And, depending on how those fights go, if you keep the Polymorph up a little bit, you can also try and interrupt the Sanctification of Tyrael if you're quick enough. Either way, we're having now, as expected, Zeratul's adjustment on level 4. Nice pressure that we also just saw at the bottom of the map. Lot of immediate push from CE, which I find interesting, because if anything I would have actually supposed BTG is going to be the team who tries and make a bit of a play there with setting Sylvanas up on the side lane. But now that we have bruiser camps taken by both, we're heading straight into our first objective. Now the Psionic Strength, as mentioned before, on Zeratul. Let's see how his adjustments go. I still expect Lucio to go for the sound barrier. It's a fantastic talent to take, and I haven't really seen any high fives on Lucio on level 10 just yet. It's pretty much just like a bigger cleanse. It's pretty much what we're having there. So we've had some setups even where Lucio team was going up against an insane amount of CC, and even their high five didn't really play a role. So I don't really expect it to come back into this here either. Hunter-Gatherer on level 4 for Rexa. Seen quite a bit of teams go into Animal Husbandry as Rexa started to make his way into the meta, but most of them has actually started to move away from that talent and go in this one here instead. Adjustments with the level 7 talents, a few obviously on Zeratul's side. We're still seeing the wormhole. That doesn't really come as a surprise. Zeratul himself is already in trouble as Reset wants to go for the kill and barely misses out on it. It was a great strategic retreat from Zeratul. In professional circles we call that the French move. Yeah, and it allowed him to stay alive here, and Genji didn't have the cooldown ready to go back in with that Swift Strike. Already used it before, but that would of course have been one kill opportunity. But we're still fighting over this particular tribute right now. Dodge has been taken on level 7 by Genji, so small adjustments for him too. Phoenix still trying to do his thing here as well, Oluful. And as you can tell, teams have started to just rotate the heroes back onto the lanes, because that tribute is just getting interrupted, and interrupted. Hide with the move straight up to the middle. Trying to use the global here to put even more pressure onto Zeratul and maybe even net a kill. Zeratul doesn't see you coming. Get Polymorph through. You're already a winner. But here comes the engage now finally. They're trying to go straight in for Lucio, and he's already darting away. But can they keep Sylv alive? And the answer to that question is no. Sylvanas goes down. At the top lane, Dehaka and Rexa are still fighting the little battle there. Obviously, if at any point Dehaka decides to go down into the bot lane, he still has a chance to have a bit of an impact there. But so far, we haven't really seen that move yet. He's trying to make sure that they're not falling behind in experience against the Rexa's position on the top side. When it comes to tribute, CE is actually taking the first one. And personally, I really think that CE is definitely one of the teams that everybody would expect to be in the grand final here. I mean, the teams with the Koreans, they are usually absolute favorites here. Then Boluo, we don't quite know what to expect from them here just yet. Shrimpy talked a bit how in scrims they're actually losing quite a lot of matches. At the same time, in the previous group stage, they took down SBT. but as they entered the final group stage before the bracket phase, before the final 4 teams are determined, they actually lost to SBT with an 0-2 in the rematch between the two of them. So it's a little bit of a tricky situation for them. Later on, when they're playing the next match, they really would need a victory there. When it comes also to talents, Brightwing again with a blink heal. There's a sound barrier, sanctification, and the might of the Narazim for Zeratul, as expected. So Zeratul is going to try and jump in and just deliver massive, massive damage on single targets with this. That's something that we have to keep an eye on. At the same time, there is obviously a lot of salvo potential on the side of Phoenix, and in general just damage increase potential through the talents that he has chosen here, because there is a variety of slows that's available for CE. In the past, we've oftentimes seen the Lightning Breath on Diablo comboed off with the salvo, but in this case we also have Unleash the Boars on top of that. So, yeah, with that said, second tribute seems to be ending up in the hands of CE again, zoning out their opponent here. It becomes a little bit dicey. It's only 1 kill against 0, but CE is definitely finding themselves in a decent spot to secure another tribute later. Maybe get that first curse. And I'm still waiting for BTG to try and make a play to maybe pushing and using Lucio for that setup. It's honestly one of the best things that you can do with Lucio. I mean, we haven't really seen that attempt at a strategy with a new one just yet. There have obviously been adjustments to the speed. But just generally speaking, one of the things that you can try and pull off is just rotate around your opponent and just quickly move onto a lane with a strong pusher like Sylvanas, or for example in other cases a Greymane. Try and destroy a few structures and then head back out before your opponent can meet the rotation and try and flank you. Sometimes tanks could just sit at the side and make sure that they have a flank protection in place, but so far we don't really see a lot of that taken advantage of. Lakay gets a little bit of damage on against Hyde, halfway down at this point, and yeah, reset on his Genji, still waiting at the side here. It's actually fascinating to me that he's always seems to get his Genji. Teams don't really ban that out against him just yet. I think it's only a matter of time until that happens again. Here comes even the play for the Haka. Already has to pop the Essence right there. Gets another wall stun. Delivery immediately from Diablo, also with the next quick kill attempt as Zeratul jumps in. Tries to make the play here. In comes the Polymorph, and LLK goes down as Diablo comes in with a Lightning Breath. Zeratul going a little bit too deep there and getting punished right away as the rest of the team has to fall back. And again, we're talking curse now. We're talking curse, and we could talk second kill, and yep, indeed. Lucio goes down, the oversized minion is biting the dust again, and there comes the follow-up as Sylvanas falls, and they are just chasing them down here. The curse has already been set up, and they're diving in deep. 4 heroes down, Zeratul already back, but they're just mercilessly pressing straight for those keeps now even. I mean, look at this. They're not even giving a shit about anything else. They're going straight again for the keep. Pressure through the wall. Just look at this fight. Zeratul, as he jumps in, gets destroyed. He tries to make the play. Goes in a little bit too deep here. And then Diablo with a stun. There's no cooldown ready. Lightning Breath comes out. And that's the kill. And that's the beginning of the end. They're already on the retreat. The channel has started. And now as we're heading into this, the keep has actually been abandoned in the mid lane. Didn't see that on stream, but they put some pressure onto it and took hit points down. We had at the bottom of 4 destroyed, same true also for the top lane, if I'm not mistaken here, and seeing it correctly on the minimap. So a lot of structural value here for CE, as they are now jumping into the middle and try to get even more done, but this fort, at least for now, survives. 13 versus 13. That's what they currently have here, in terms of talents. And yeah, it's going to be a little bit rough for BTG if they don't find their kill soon, because at this point, they're still down to 0. Okay, once again, boss is about to be taken. Uh-oh, that's not good. There comes the sanctification that negates a lot of the salvo value, actually. But Phoenix is down as Zeratul moved in. Is that maybe the moment where BTG can turn it around? They get Diablo, they get Trashwing. 2 are already dead, and we're having Misha obliterated as the Genji. Alright, BTG is back to business, ladies and gentlemen. BTG is back to business. A full-on team wipe, and they can go for the boss. That's exactly what they needed. That was actually really well done here by them. Great job on the side of BTG. Was just asking the question, can they make the plays? And yes, they find an opportunity. So now once again, teams are starting to move in. And It's a little bit of a weird scenario for me too, because it's literally Brightwing against Lucio, so no matter who I talk shit about, one of them is gonna win. It's like they can't both lose. That doesn't work, so it's like one of them is gonna win. It's a little bit weird. That was a good chase though. That's one of the moments where Lucio of course gives you the value, just because you can chase your opponent down quite easily. And now they have 16 in their hands, and they get the second boss at the bottom of the map too. But I'm actually pretty happy that BTG is able to make a bit of a comeback there, because CE, they looked really strong here in the last team fight, and then with the boss, oh sorry, with the objective, it took a lot. So it's one of those weird scenarios where it could have been really one-sided, but BTG just looked at it and said, like, guys, listen, we're on same talents right now. This is one of the few fights that we can get. Let's make a play. And Tyrael's negate on the salvo was actually fantastic. He jumped back to the rest of the team. They were all clumped up, and that's where he used the sanctification, and the salvo just didn't get anything done. And then Zeratul delivering the blows. And that was really important. I mean, Zeratul is oftentimes one of the heroes where he's a bit of a linchpin hero, right? So a lot of the plays and a lot of the success that you have in those games is really just hinging on the performance of your Zeratul player. And in the last fight, he did a lot of good damage in the first fight, but then he fell because he got caught in the choke point by Diablo. Now it was a bit of a different setup here. The Master Warp Blade on 16 is going to help him now too. We added bonus damage on the third strike. So that can definitely drop a target quite quickly. And Zeratul is also the one that has to be controlled by a CE. So it's Brightwing's responsibility. Hyde needs to have that polymorph ready, and Gonda is going to wait for a good wall stun against it. And here comes the fight again. Tyrael is jumping in, Tyrael is jumping out. The hectic observing doesn't really help the case with the lack of FPS that we have on that stream that we're commentating here. It would be much better if you would just not zoom in and out this much and just keep it static around the tribute, to be honest with you. Sometimes a little bit hard to follow, and I guess you have the same experience here. The fort at the top lane hasn't fallen, but the keep at the bottom definitely did. Top lane fort might still fall, the tribute is already taken. Still a level lead for BTG. And I gotta admit, like, they are doing really well here. I did not expect them to do this well, and the early game kinda showed that too. I'm glad that we saw the stacks here for a second. Sylvanas is currently sitting at 110, so that is not too bad either. With 110 stacks, 13 minutes in, she can definitely start to contribute a lot in those team fights and stack that even higher into the late game. Normally the Chinese observer doesn't really focus a lot on the stack talents, but apparently they were eager to show the souls of Diablo, to just showcase that he's currently not quite that hit point heavy and has a bit of trouble sustaining himself there at the front. But that also gave us a glimpse of Sylvanas, so pretty good to see that she already crossed past 100 stacks. Camps are taken on the map again, and if you look at the mini-map, I mean, they're painting the entire thing blue. Taking as many as they can here. There's the gank against the bot lane, but we're also having the approach right now. They're trying to go for the Haka again. Essence is being popped, and all of a sudden they're in trouble. Yep, there goes Phoenix again. Phoenix gets eliminated by Zeratul. Easy peasy. Sanctification has been thrown out as well. Hyde is on the run. Zeratul gets dropped by Genji, so Reset moves in, gets the kill, and as we're having Brightwing survive, that turns it into a 4 versus 4. But as we said before, Gonda doesn't really have the stacks right now. Gets a great lightning breath through that Rose Lucio, so it's still a 3 versus 3. There's the Sylvanas kill on the other hand. Reset is just getting too much value here. They're trying to make the play for the Haka again, and he actually escapes. Nicely done. Burrows onto the map. Druid is already on the run too. The Tribute is going to be channeled by Genji, but it's going to be a 1-for-1 in the structures in the mid lane. They are currently falling slowly and steadily. It's going to be low, but we have still that half level lead for BTG right now in experience, which means an earlier level 20 talent. Tyrael even hanging around a bit longer and just saying, interrupt. But yeah, eventually Reset takes it. But it was a cool fight that we saw there. And if Zeratul doesn't fall in the second attempt and Genji gets the kill in, then I could have totally seen that turn around against them even more later on in the game. But yeah, pretty solid setup there. Okay, good game so far. I like it, I like it. And let's see what else we have with this. We're having currently, I mean, do we see a push with 20? It doesn't really seem like it, the window is small. Bosses are not on the map. Actually, one boss just came up, which means the second one is going to come up in a moment too. but they are not really collapsing onto that quickly. It's a bit of a weird scenario because right now BTG could have maybe tried to go for the boss at the top lane. The interesting part is that it's actually CE that go for boss because they don't want to fight over the tribute since they don't have the storm talent. The rotation comes in, but they might just be a little bit too late. 127 stacks now on the side of Sylvanas. They're starting to go in. Oh, that timing is great. They have Sanctification, they have everything here. But can they move in? Zeratul is bot lane. CE with a better rotation. CE making sure that they get the boss, and that boss is going to be dangerous for the top side keep, where the only thing that BTG got is a second tribute out of the situation. So it's not really as much as they were hoping for here. So let's see. Gotta defend. With the defense that we're now having come up at the top lane, it's actually likely that CE gets a free tribute, and we have 20 versus 20 at this point. So it gives us the arena. It gives us also the 20 for Zeratul himself. Might of the Nerazim, obviously a big adjustment here with the playstyle that you're trying to rock, but once that you're heading then also into your 20 ability, if you actually have the Twilight Falls, reset on the basic abilities is actually great here. There's a boss taken in the bot lane. That was an important one. The problem is that Druid is in trouble, and reset, he's about to get the kill. Well, Tyrell still trying to get away, buys himself some additional time, but eventually is going to fall. Goes down at the top. Boss is doing some work, but Dehaka is taking the tribute, and that's going to be a curse. And boss was actually claimed by CE, not BTG, so it's a double boss, one at the top, one at the bot lane, and the curse is taken at the same time by BTG as they're trying to defend, but this is not boding too well for them right now. They're in a massive amount of trouble. They were ahead in the game thanks to that fantastic fight in the mid game, but CE is now turning this entire franchise around again, especially with Tyrael currently missing. There's little they can do, and they're starting to go straight in for the fight. And we're back to business, so a little bit of an annoying situation here for that to happen, but Dibbles goes down. Guys, we might actually see the core still saved. Is that a possibility here? I mean, it's going down slowly, but the boss is not really too healthy. With Diablo already down, can they get another kill? Dehaka has fallen, the core falls slowly, but Hyde is also about to die, and they're actually defending it. They're actually defending the core on roughly 50%. Genji is down as well. And that's the only keep that got taken. They're going for Phoenix, Rek'Sai is dead too, and all of a sudden 4 heroes are down in BTG. What are they going to do with it? They have taken the keep at the bot lane already previously, so that's an opportunity for them to go for the core right away. We're actually seeing a turnaround. What looked like a sure win for CE with the boss at the top and the bot lane, and a big push coming through as Tyrael is dead turns into counter-aggression. And guys, they have Tyrael. They can sanctification that whole thing, and Tyrael's explosion itself is going to take another 5% of their core. BTG actually turning this shit around. Insane. Absolutely insane here. What a setup right now. BTG, they go for the core and they are taking the victory. GG and well played as BTG takes the 1-0 in the best of 2. Game number 2, ladies and gentlemen. BTG with the lead against CE. Didn't think that would happen. Honestly didn't. I expected CE to take this series. Then again, to be fair, I expected CE to take game number 1 and then maybe BTG on a map pick of their choosing, having a strategy where they might be able to win the map. But my favorite heading into the series was definitely CE with the 3 Koreans that they're playing with. So I like that BTG is coming out swinging. They played a great tournament so far. We talked about a couple of the matches that they had previously and their very own flavor and style. But yeah, I'm a little bit curious to see how this is going to end up now, because CE is definitely under pressure here. They ban out Alexstrasza first of all. You might have already noticed with Lucio and Brightwing being played on the last map that the support meta in China is currently, let's call it, wild. And that trend just keeps continuing, but we have Alexstrasza as a first pick actually on this map, or we had it, and now she gets banned out here. which is super interesting if you compare it to Europe, for example, where Alexstrasza just doesn't play a role on this battleground. I mean, even on Infernal Shrines, she's these days not really picked anymore because the Europeans prefer Ana, they prefer Malfurion, they prefer Tyrande, obviously. So there's a lot of other supports that just take precedence over Alexstrasza, but not so in China. After we now have seen Ana and Alexstrasza banned out, we're seeing the straight up pick into Tyrande. So we're seeing here still. And let's have a look at this. Anoop is banned out again. So is Maiev, meaning that Zeratul is up. Ooh, and Diablo is already getting picked. Is that going to be a Zeratul pick again for BTG? Nah, Rexa. Our boy on the off lane. In Europe, more so dominant on Volskaya. And, well, if you see Braxis, he's played on Braxis, but it's really Dragonshire where he excels a lot. In China, now that the Chinese have started to pick up on the Rexa priority as well, we're seeing the hero pretty much played on, I mean, basically every single map. Okay, here comes Junkrat and ETC, so the power slides straight into the Tyrande stun for CE. And yeah, let's have a look at this. Malthael gets banned, so Diablo is being a bit safer here. Off lane, a bit easier too. I mean, Malthael into Rexa has an additional body on the map, of course. But what does CE ban? I mean, CE, there's pressure on them. I expect them to be one of the teams that ends up in the grand final. But if BTG continues that trend, they might actually be able to start a bit of an upset here. Which I would be a huge fan of. I mean, BTG was always a pretty cool team. And initially, at the last year's Gold League, when I was in China for that tournament, BTG was actually a team that barely qualified for the event and got bodied by everyone. And they started to slowly and steadily improve then. So seeing that the team now with a few more adjustments and with that training regime is now all of a sudden able to take games of CE with 3 Koreans that enforce that team is pretty impressive. Hanzo and Malfurion get picked on the other side. And there's Imperius. I'm an Imperius fan again. Like, I like Imperius as a hero in games to watch him there. So Imperius gets taken, even more CC after Tyrande and ETC. So a little bit more to be added here. And Sylvanas. I mean, she is insanely popular in China, and this game is not going to be an exception. The last pick for BTG, what's that going to be? They're still needing a bit more damage on their end. So far, they're relying very heavily on Hanzo, unless they are committing to another melee hero, which I kind of don't think they will, considering they run Rexa here already. There's the Thrall, though. All right, Crash Lightning probably going to come in. A little bit of Trash Lightning value as we're heading into game number 2, ladies and gentlemen. BTG in the lead against CE in the best of 2. Game on! Game number 2. BTG in the lead against CE. Yeah, so far, Reset, Gonda and Hyde were not able to turn this around here. Now again in the group, they're still looking strong, but can they take game number 2 here in Volskaya Foundry of BTG? Beyond the game. We're playing here once again with Malfurion, played by Mumu, which is still an insanely funny name to me because in Germany that literally means vagina. So the vagina is playing Malfurion right now. It's kind of fitting. And we are having no talent taken yet for Thrall. Come on, buddy. You want to do it? The Trash Lightning value. You already play in the 4-man. Rexa is going to take that solo lane, so as much as I like Echo of Elements, and I'm a massive fan of Echo, he still goes for it. Wow. I was just about to say, as much as I like Echo of Elements, if you play Battlefield of Eternity and you don't have to play on the solo lane, but are part of the 4-man, and the same goes for me personally on Volskaya too, the more I want to see Crash Lightning taken, because that poke damage is incredibly annoying in the later stages, and you're normally having a good time getting that stack. So it's a bit weird to me that he still went into Echo of Elements. It's still a choice you can make. I mean, again, I'm not trying to just rip him in the sense of like, oh my god, what a horrible choice, that's literally unplayable now. It definitely is still strong. But if you get Crash Lightning here, you normally have a lot of poke damage towards the later stage. So there are a couple of advantages going into Echo, of course, especially when you're trying to activate your trait and a few others. Later on, when you have the Thunderstorm on level 16, if you're going into that, you can proc that a little bit more often. So there's definitely arguments to be made, but it is one of the maps where you can definitely get decent value out of Crash Lightning, so that makes it a bit weird. Either way, we have now Unfurling Shadows on level 1 for Sylvanas again. Last game, we thankfully saw the stacks every now and then, so maybe we're gonna have the same treatment here in game number 2 from our Chinese observers. We're heading into this game. And that would help us, of course, to determine how much of a problem Sylvanas is gonna be in the team fights in the later stages. We already had one turret taken. This is actually interesting to me personally right now, that the 4-man is not going for the healing beacon. Think about how late CE just took their own turret at the bottom right. If they're going this late for the turret bot right, you normally can try and make the play for the healing beacon and force that. And CE would either have to abandon the turret and try and put them into a stalemate, or fight the battle, or would have to just say, okay, we need our turret, they can get that. It's a little bit weird to me that BTG didn't try and play a bit more aggressively around the healing beacon itself. I mean, yes, there is of course Junkrat to consider, who can control the position to an extent, but normally you see, at least in the European scene, a lot more pressure around that second item that the team can get. Either way, Thrall with a super early completion here. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Whew. Boys making waves here. Nicely done. That's one of the fastest echo of elements that I've seen in a while. Frostwolf pack claimed on level 4. And there's now the play for the healing beacon. CE is the team that makes it. Obviously, Rexa's making his way over now too. And are they going to let this one go? Well, here comes the approach. They're trying to make the play. And thanks to Junkrat, they can steal this easy peasy. Highlighting once more what I said earlier. Would have loved to see an earlier commitment from BTG. There's at least a bit of an upside to this. CE dropped their own turret. Talking about dropping things, Junkrat is getting dropped at the top lane. That's a Tour's moment right there. So, solo kill from Thrall. That shouldn't really have happened. That was a bit of a weird one for Junkrat. But as it stands, Thrall gets the kill. And now that we're having healing beacon against a single turret, it's not quite as bad on the objective either. Obviously, you want to have the healing beacon if you have a choice, but still, they had to drop the turret around the camp just to make sure that they would get this. Let's see. Level 4 talents, level 7 is in on the other side, so position is now given up. Good lockdown, really good lockdown against ETC. Ooh, Gonda already ate a bit of damage here. Didn't panic though. I mean, if he panics, he would have dropped the item, so he knew he would get out of this. That's a lot of free damage pushed in. 25 stacks on Sylvanas, 11 for ETC. So far, so good. I mean, Sylv starting with 25 early on in the game isn't too bad either. Can obviously also start stacking against Misha herself. There again, the setup, reset, try to get a few more together. Honestly, I want to see how many stacks Reset gets in the late game. I really hope that our Chinese observer is going to give us more information about that. Because Reset has just been an absolute freak on every single hero that he played. That guy is a monster, he's a beast. And I can completely see him getting an insane amount of stacks on Sylvanas and single-handedly buddy the late game. Is already trying to get those attacks in, as you can see there. Turret has been committed to. Turret camps are, by the way, up again. Nicely done here by Imperius. Jumps out of harm's way. But if you look over to the objective, blue team has started to take control again. So they are trying to make the play for the first protector here. Starting to make their way into this. Reset is still stacking on Misha, by the way. Stack, 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 stack the entire time. Gets locked down for a moment. Nice wolf connect here too. And he moves out. A close call though. A little bit dicey for Reset there for a second, especially after we saw Thrall connecting the Wolf too. 99% against 36. They're fighting again for it, and this time they have to stay, and that's why Gonda is absolutely willing on his ETC to also drop the quick turret. Quest completed on Thrall. Misha is down, so that is forcing BTG off the point for a few seconds, and they're going to try and regroup before re-engaging into the battle. But the stacks on Sylvanas definitely coming in at this point for Reset. He's doing well with that, for sure. Sitting straight in the middle again. There's LLK already trying to make his own play. Trying to set the stacks up again. They are going for Imperius. And he goes down. Imperius down. Stacking completed for Dibbles. This is actually looking really good for BTG. Woo! Reset is in trouble. Well, call that Reset is dead, and that's also an additional protector. BTG, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. They are impressing here. They have level 10, they have the protector, they already have the lead in the series against CE. And keep in mind, once more, a quick reminder here, these are best of 2s. which means every single map matters. And CE, if they lose 2 maps to BTG, that would be a pretty big blow for CE, and it would be a massive, massive win for BTG. Them getting such an amazing lead in this lineup, that would be crazy. 53 stacks for Sylph here, 6 connects also from Tyrannos in level 4. Well, there's the Sundering, and Gondar's gonna fall. Yeah, so much for trying to flank in with a mosh pit. That isn't happening anytime soon. So that's our 4 kills against 0. Reset is also getting attacked here. Reset nearly gets dropped. Scratch that. Reset. Oh my god! LLK, you god! Sees the wave coming, and Sylvanas doesn't even reappear as the wolf takes her down. Oh, or as Trixler would say, woof woof. That was a good one. Damn, son, it was a great flank from him in the first place to come in at that point of time and from that angle, and then just calm, no panic, and he knew exactly what was happening, and it's a beautiful connect right there. CE is currently not losing the game. CE is currently just getting slapped around here. I mean, honestly, they're getting burned so hard, you can give them all the aloe vera in China and it's not going to help them. They won't be able to sit for a week if this game continues. Game number 1, BTG made a comeback. CE has now to prove that they can do the exact same thing. But BTG has a massive lead. 5 kills against 0, a level ahead, level 13 talents on their side. Can go for even more of an item advantage if they really want. And heading into objective number 2, they obviously have now also eliminated the top fort and fountain, which makes it harder for CE. I would never really count the Koreans out, especially with the Sylvana setup here, but at this point, BTG is looking at a position where they're saying, guys, if we play this right, we should have a good chance of winning this game. They're definitely taking the lead here. But CE is fighting back. CE is not giving up on this one by any means, and one good team fight, one good mosh pit, and you can definitely turn this around. Now Misha goes down again, and keep in mind that Sylvanas at least can start stacking against Misha quite a bit too. It's one of the things that can be a bit annoying sometimes when you're playing with Rexa, because Misha is usually taking a bit of a pummeling there. But CE is still aiming for 13. And to be fair, they're gonna get that before the objective is up. So BTG is honestly gonna be trying to get level 16 throughout the objective phase. Now don't get me wrong, you're obviously not able to get 16 before the next Punisher or the next control point is announced. That's not happening. But if you're going to have a bit of a back and forth between the two teams around the turning point and maybe a bit of pressure play at the bottom of the map, there's definitely a realistic chance that BTG can in the long run get level 16 as the objective is about to be completed. And that's what you can do right there. So once again, they're starting to make the play in the middle. We're having Sylvanas controlling the bot side still. And as you can tell, they're starting to go in for level 15. So they're definitely starting to get ahead here. Okay. Here comes the play again. Still holding the bot lane against Rexa. Trying, of course, as I said, to stack. Yeah, I'm honestly just amazed by this. 67 stacks on Sylvanas. Not as much as she really wants to have here. Sylvanas is trying. Reset is definitely trying. 72, okay, getting a little bit more in. We're only 10 minutes into the game and we haven't really seen the second objective fight. Once that's in play and we have more brawl, we're going to have probably more stacked up on that. But yeah, look at the experience now. It's exactly what I talked about earlier. They're going to try and delay it a little bit. Just going to try and make sure that it's not going to be directly picked by CE. And as long as they're soaking the experience on the other lanes, they are going to have that 16. Eventually, this is not even half a level at their way here. They're getting items now at the same time at the bottom, and yeah, they're gonna get a massive lead in talents. This is amazing for BTG. This is honestly nuts. This series is going the exact opposite way from what I expected. I expected CE to be in these positions and BTG being forced to try and fight for a comeback. But now they're gonna get this one, and what do you do if you're at CE now? Your opponent does not only have an item advantage with double turret, double healing beacon. On top of that, they're having a talent advantage too. And you will have to give this one up. The only thing that CE can do is try and use Sylvanas on the other side of the map to get value, and that's what they're doing. And what does BTG do to react to that? They make the perfect decision. They move simply straight to across the map and they're saying, well, if you want our fort at the bot lane, by all means, take it. Take it. You can have it. And in the meantime, we take a keep. If you're happy with that trade, we're going to give you that trade. And yeah. I'm not so sure if that's really something that they would do. Sylvanas is still down at the bottom of the map alone. They've also a slight adjustment here on level 16, which I still find a little bit weird on Thrall, by the way. Thrall went now into the Tempest Fury. I really expected Alpha Bull for Thunderstorm to be taken here. Tempest Fury for the extra 3 hits for the 75% normal damage. That's what he goes now. It's definitely not a lot of synergy with the level 1 and level 4 talent that we'd normally have a more focus on. But yeah, there's the Protector. Ford at the bot lane has been eliminated. Someone should kind of try and catch the experience here, to be absolutely honest with you. But in the meantime, Protector is moving down to the bottom of the map. Now, I honestly think if CE would not have had level 16 at that point, BTG would have got trying to go for the keep. But now you want to prepare the bot lane. Most of the time you see a commitment in the middle as well, just to... It's a little bit of a drive-by kill. So you're going for the quick drive-by shot against the fort, but now they're getting poked down so heavily that they still have to make sure that they're getting the bottom. Alright, so the fort here goes down as expected. Gondar might actually go down too if he isn't careful here. But the main goal is obviously that you're trying to take down the fountain at the bottom of the map. Because right now, bot lane, third objective, CE has a lead. Because they took down the fort and the fountain on BTG's side. So BTG has to do at least the same thing when it comes to the fountain. In the ideal world, you want to get the fort too. But this is actually not too shabby. From CE's perspective, this isn't too bad. Honestly, I would call it a big win right now. Think about how far they were behind. They never really had a chance to get the second objective. And they now managed to pretty much trade the mid fort against the bot fort. Think 1 second about what did that Protector do. The Protector traded... The Protector got a mid fort. And in exchange, CE got the bottom fort earlier. So that Protector didn't do jack shit. They're still ahead in experience by a level, and their level 20 would be great. Maybe even a fight before that. Misha is already down, but it's still a weird setup. That Protector was not a successful one at all. They're trying to make the play for LLK. Thrall is still there. Big arrow from Hanzo. Reset needs to be careful. There's those healing beacons on the ground, and Malfurion comes in with his own ult, Tranquility. LLK is low, and there's the mosh pit. Thrall down, Malf down, Duranda falls. It's a big blow up. We could actually see Imperius die too, and yep, he falls. And we're seeing also the elimination of Sylvanas. Junkrat is trying to run away, but he gets the axe to the face, and Misha jumps in too. So that's an entire team wipe that we're now seeing, with ETC falling on the back end there. And BTG is making up for the little value that the Protector got with a full team wipe. Look at that fight. First the play for LLK, it doesn't work out, and then the Hanzo arrow, and that's the elimination shortly after of the first hero. ETC is starting to dive in again, tries to set up the mosh pit, and in this case he actually only gets it against 2 heroes, but both of them fall. The problem is that everybody is so low at that point in time, and Hanzo, Meng, he could just get shot after shot after shot in. He poked them down the entire time. It was just Hanzo value all over the place. They took down the fort at the bot lane. They didn't really take a keep. This is the one thing that I feel you can really nitpick about, that BTG doesn't push these advantages further. I think they could have done more damage. Could have tried to take maybe a wall down, maybe even a keep down. But as it stands, they're 2 levels ahead. They have item control now. And they're starting to make the play for the top lane, which is actually pretty awesome. So with them going for the top lane, they should be able to take this keep. They have 20. Again, it's a 2-level lead and they have 20. So I would be amazed if they don't get this one. They're starting to move in, and then it's Protector time again. And that Protector should and could end the game. Alright, then they're going to get this one. Starting to move straight onto the top. Dropping a turret there too. It's like... I don't really agree with what BTG is doing there at times. Now think about what just happened. BTG just moved top lane with a level 20 advantage and trying to push for a keep that is already at 20-25% HP. They didn't commit to it, and they lost an item in the process. Not a fan. If you don't go for it, at least keep the item. Now, they get at the bot lane the Protector. What CE is doing is they're trying to get as many structures as they can to make sure that they get level 20 at least for the defense, and of course they have also the hope that they can still fight for the Protector with even talents. So they're getting the value in the top lane. CE is making good decisions right now. I like that we're at least having BTG reacting to it with an own push at the bottom of the map. So they're just saying, okay, we can do that. But BTG is really, really afraid of getting caught. And to an extent, you can understand it and say, well, rightfully so. But at the same time, they're just giving up infrastructures. They did it around the second objective where they lost the bottom fort. Now they have lost the top fort. Reset is still getting more value out of this. Obviously, there will be a Protector for BTG, but it's going up against level 20 talents on the side of CE, so it's now even in talents. And keep in mind how this started. This started with, oh, well, how that Protector started. We had a 2-level lead for BTG, around level 20. And they get a free Protector out of it, and that's all. They haven't gotten more. They didn't get the top keep. They didn't get anything else. They lost the fort instead. Now they're going through the top lane. I mean, that keep is so low, they can just go through it like hot butter through cheese. Easily. 116 stacks already on Sylvanas. And yep, with that, we're now having the push at the top lane. And with this, you want to end. I mean, this is not something where you're just going to be happy getting the keep. So one hit and they get that. They're trying to make the play here now for Gonda. Uh-oh, ETC. Yeah, gets away, barely. But once again, we're having Imperius also committed to nice waiting arrow from Sylvanas. And they're already moving back. They're already moving back. The fort, the keep is down. And that is it. Honestly, BTG, they need a little bit of Protector training. Think about, like, again, you have to, after these pushes, every single time just like sum up real quickly, what did they just get? They get the third Protector in the game, 18 minutes in, and the only thing they do with it is take down a keep that was already at 20% HP. Second Protector, what did they get? A fort. Mid lane fort was all they got, and they traded it for another fort on the map. BTG played some amazing team fights in this game. They had some incredible advantages. And CE has taken pummeling. They have taken a beating for so long. But now, as we're looking on the map and we're just thinking, okay, where are we at this point? Where are we 10 minutes into this game? We have a stats advantage of BTG's side because they have the extra levels. But CE is now only down a fort, basically. They're down a keep. The keep is the main part. One keep has been eliminated, and that's it. This can definitely turn. You win a good fight, and you can take it. Fourth objective, you can take the game. So it is honestly a little bit insane that BTG hasn't been able to do more around the advantages that they had. If you think about it from their perspective, they must be a little bit disappointed of where they are right now, because I could have totally seen more keeps destroyed, a much better position from a macro aspect, or them even already winning the game here. They are oftentimes a bit hesitant. You really get the feeling that they're not really so much thinking about winning, but oftentimes thinking a little bit more about not losing with the advantage that they had. But now it's a one-level advantage, and that's it. And the top lane, I don't think that's going to be a problem anytime soon for CE. Those catapults can easily be outpushed if you have this much wave clear. And they have a lot. They can still send Sylvanas over, they can send Junkrat over. That shouldn't really be an issue. So yeah, let's see how CE plays this. CE is now playing way more aggressive. And if they get a kill like this against LLK, if at any point that works, that would be the play. But Dibbles goes in with a great Apocalypse, connects it with two. Sundering comes in as well. They're making the play for Tyrande. The mosh pit is in though. It's dance time, baby. As Tyrande falls though. But nice isolation of Malfurion. And he actually survives. Malfurion survives. And now everybody else is dying. Imperius is down, so is Junkrat. We're seeing Mal finally taken out, but Sylvanas has also fallen, and only one hero survives on the other side, and that's Gonda. I don't even know why they're chasing him, to be honest. You're gonna get the kill one way or another, but it's time to go for the core here, and BTG is pulling off the incredible. BTG is taking down CE in this game with a 2-0. The core is under attack, the core is falling. We're still looking at ETC, who finally dies, but that is going to be game. BTG, they played it extremely safe, maybe a little bit too safe this game. but the outcome is going to be the same. They take down CE without dropping a map. It's a 2-0 victory in the best of 2 series. They're even waiting for Rexer to make his way in, and that is it. GG. Well played.